Barrett Brooks at bbrooks72 NBCS on Twitter. NBC Sports Philly, two-time Emmy winner. Look at that, man. You keep shining, brother. It's amazing. Two-time Emmy winner. I'm surprised you still answer my text, bro.
Come on, man. Come on now. I mean, you did text me at 6 in the morning, but of course, man. Of course I'm going to answer your texts, man.
You're always
That's
up.
like noon for Eytan.
Exactly.
Right.
My clock's messed up, and I know Barrett is a hustler. So if he's not out, he's probably working out or something, doing something early at 6 a.m., man. So, or work as much as you put in.
Well, actually, I was washing dishes, man, because I wanted to cook breakfast, man. So
There you go. See, I knew you were up doing something, and that was safe to say. Hey, what about Ryan's question, though? You look at this era that we've seen, and the Super Bowl is definitely going to add to it, Barrett, but the magic, the storylines, everything that comes with what's happened with Nick Foles taking over the last 3 weeks, it's like back-to-back years that we've had some of, if not the most memorable football we've seen as Eagles fans.
But, I mean, not just Eagles fans, but period. I mean, Foles has he's already been a story for us, but now he's becoming a national story. This team is becoming a national team now. I mean, there are really people in the NFC are like, look, we don't want to play the Eagles right now. And I was definitely surprised that the Bears allowed themselves to go ahead and beat Minnesota. I mean, they could have smashed Minnesota next week and almost guaranteed them a chance to go to play it with the Saints the next week. But it's going to be tough for them to beat this Eagles team. And just sitting back and just looking at what we've witnessed. I mean, this team was terrible. They were 4-6. 4-6.
Yep, I had them dead and buried
right now. Me too. After that Saints game,
yep.
But I really mean, they were in the casket after the Saints game. But after the Dallas game, I lowered them into the grave. I started putting dirt on top of them, man. And for them to fight back like that, turn the corner, and just show and it of course, everybody's talking about with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. Well, I mean, Carson had a pretty good, amount to do with that turnaround also with coming back in the Giants game and having the ability, to keep them guys going. They are a good team, man. And now that they're pointing in the right direction, with as far as them being healthy in the places they need to be healthy at, the sky's the limit for this team.
Barrett Brooks joining us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, former Super Bowl champion, NBC Sports Philadelphia analyst. You can catch them all over your TV anytime, any day.
Don't forget the Emmys now.
And don't forget the 2 Emmys, of course. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous of me. I hope you can forgive me, Barrett. But Barrett, man, you're a former player. You follow this team. The confidence and the swagger that this locker room has, ever since, particularly whenever Nick Foles is under center, because I feel like it's us against the world. It's playing with house money. Any cliche phrase you want to use, but I want your insight as a former player. Have you ever witnessed this type of swagger and this much confidence just seeping through your television with this Eagles team?
Well, I did see traces of that back when there was B-Dog and number 5 back there playing. But this team has a new confidence because they're battle tested. They know that they can win. And these guys know and understand that they can win also. So, just putting it in perspective, they're at a point in their they're at a point in sports where they're starting to be contenders. They have it in the conversation when they talk about, all right, the Rams, you're talking about now the Saints. You have to put the Eagles in that type of conversation. Even when you have to talk about New England, now you have to talk about the Eagles. And they're getting back on track and going in the right direction. I like the fact that, you now have teams saying, look, I don't want anything to do with these guys. These guys know that they can play. They know that they can come back. And they're not worried about their starting quarterback not being there. Now the backup is just as good as the starter. So they're going to be a definite threat in the NFC this week. And if they make it past the Bears, I do see them competing because it's a far different team that they saw back then when they played the Saints. It's a far different team. They're not anywhere close to what they were. Now they can contend, man. So I'm looking, man, this is a new wave. I said we were going into a golden age of Philadelphia sports last year. Well, I think it's starting to come back again, man. Things are starting to go in the right direction.
Barrett, what happens at left tackle next year?
See, that's tough, man. It's because I know Big V. He showed us something last year, but he's totally regressed this year.
Is that our best option?
We're gonna have to draft. We have to draft high. We have to draft high. And I mean, and you look at Jordan Mailata. I mean, he's interesting, man. This will be his second year in football. Now understanding it, being behind, being with that offensive line coach, he could possibly turn the corner. I saw some great things from him, not good things, but great things from him in the preseason. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Can you get enough, real quick, is there enough to tell from a technique, coaching, and reaction standpoint? Not as far as game. I know you'll never be able to simulate the game, but can you get enough in the offseason, OTAs, camp, to look at Mailata and say, all right, he's good enough to compete for a position battle as opposed to he still needs a lot of work to even be put out there?
I think he's past the point where he needs a lot of work.
Okay.
Now he's competing. Now he understands it. I mean, now his body understands what it is to play football. At first, he was just a rugby player. Now he is a football player. He can get it now. He understands how he needs to go and leverage players and now get off the ball and at the point of contact, drop his hips. Those are all things you learn when you're younger. But the way his body is developed now and understanding what the feel is to be an NFL football player, he could definitely fight for that position. Definitely fight for that position.
Barrett, one more question here for you.
He's close.
Okay, one more question here for you, Barrett. Fast forward now to this Bears matchup and take the Nick Foles dynamic out of it. What do the Eagles need to do to win this game?
They have to be consistent at the run-pass options. They have to be consistent at that. They must make sure that they don't give this Bears team a chance to come off the ball and pass rush every single down. They have to have that run here and there. And even if they don't have successful runs, still keep running the ball. And everybody thinks that a 1-yard run is not a successful yard or a 3-yard run is not a successful run play. But it still keeps in the back of the defense's mind that they have the ability to run the ball. And when you do that, it just slows down that pass rusher just that much to give you an opportunity to get on them and block them. We get in trouble when we have that run pass option that's a little bit swayed towards the pass more. So now that these passers can get off the ball, we don't want Khalil Mack to get into a groove. We don't want Leonard to get into a groove. Come off the ball, hit them in the mouth because they're little guys. Now you can drive block them as opposed to them coming off the ball and you trying to block them going backwards. See, people don't understand when you're an offensive tackle, you're going backwards. Even if you lined up head-to-head with this guy, with these pass rushers, they could beat you in a 40-yard dash running forward. Now you're asking them to go backwards and block these guys. That's one hell of a feat to try to do every single play. So give these guys an opportunity to come off the ball, hit them in the mouth, use your weight advantage to take over and hit them. You start leaning on them a little bit. Now it's a little harder to come off on pass plays. Now you have to use a little more energy coming off when you're trying to go up against a 350-pound guy and wrestle with him as opposed to you going out and just pass rushing every single play where you can run around him and he's not touch you. So they make sure if we run the ball, we'll be just fine, man. And then we can also use it against them. We can use that speed against them because we can run draw plays and screen plays, get them up the field. Now they have to backtrack, making even more tired because they have to run backwards and forwards. So there are little things that this team is going to do to neutralize that speed, running counter plays, get them going one way and then go back the other way. If you notice in this last game, since they had so much control over that Washington Redskins team, they started throwing new looks out. We hadn't seen the jet sweep all season, but they played that just to give them an idea. All right, we got the jet sweep now. We ran a jet sweep. We can pass out of the jet sweep. Those are all things they use not for the benefit of winning the game, but to give Chicago something else they have to work on in practice.
Unbelievable. Playoff football. If this guy goes out and wins another Super Bowl this year, we're putting him in the Hall of Fame. All of Philadelphia will physically carry him right into Canton, man. Unbelievable.
No question.
With the ski mask on.
Absolutely. We'll rob somebody's spot and just replace him with Foles. How about that?
No question, man. No question, man. He's doing it, man.
I love it. At B Brooks 72 NBCS on Twitter. Barrett Brooks, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Thank you, brother. Great chatting with you. We appreciate the time, and I'm sure we'll chat soon. I'm sure next week we'll be talking about this same conversation about how we all have the Eagles going into Chicago winning that football game, man. Thanks. Happy New Year.
No question, man. You got to call me anytime. Happy New Year, fellas.